it's recording. Let me just go grab my machine.
Has a folder called Shared with Me already for me. Now, this assumes that everybody already has a login and password and has already done that. It's very easy to set up an account if you didn't already set up an account. You would, as you go back to searching for Google Drive, you click on it, and then it would ask you for a username and password, and you can easily register with your Cheshire Academy email account. And I just use the same password for both.
Okay.
So what it'll give you is it will give you a bunch of folders over here on the left that I'm kind of scrolling through. It'll give you one called My Drive, where you can create and organize folders just like you would on your own desktop. So I've got, for last year, I've got my classes, and then for each class, I created a folder for each student. And I'll show everybody how to do that in a second. And then you also get a folder called Shared with Me, the folder I have open now. If somebody creates a document or a spreadsheet or a folder, and they share it with you, and they're the owner of it, that's where it's going to go. It's going to go in your Shared with Me folder. Now you can from there move it into your drive if you want. So let's say that this reflection piece here from Severn needs to go in my IB Theater 1 folder. I can click on it, and I can drag it into IB Theater 1. And then, as you see, it says IB Theater 1 right here. So that's what I'm doing. Now, the other way to do that is to click in this little box. Each folder has its own little box. And then you get a bunch of options.
Because anything else is
okay.
I don't know. I mean,
No, that's fine.
Like a 2-second change.
You can trash it.
I had 4 days with it. All right, so then.
Or you can do a bunch of other things.
She wants.
You can open it with other
Oh,
applications.
Date and time, return
Star,
date and time
you
later.
can rename it.
Return.
You can mark it as viewed or unviewed, like an email, and a bunch of other things as well. So the main thing that I use this for is if my students have papers to write for me, rather than having them print them out and rather than having them email them to me, I just have them share them with me over Google Drive. So if I were a student and I wanted to do that, I would go to this red button called Create. And I would click on it, and you get this choice of folder, document, presentation, spreadsheet, form, draw, and there's other apps, and there's tons of them. So I'll just create a document, and it calls up this window, which looks kind of like Microsoft Word. And I can type whatever I want in it, and I can select things and change the font. I can change the size. I can change color. And it works just like a regular word processor, where you can undo things, you can redo things.
The van only comes and goes at 6 p.m.
It's got,
Kids might think,
you
oh,
can center
yeah, I think it's
things,
here
you
and
can write, justify. It's got all the spacing options.
This
So it
thing.
basically works just like a full-scale word processor, however you want it to work.
Mark, can I ask, with the students, if they want to share something with you, so they obviously they can do it right here, or if they have it in another document, you know, something that they've done, can they just copy it and then paste it right into here?
They can. So
I understand I was being counterintuitive, but I can't think of things, but maybe if there's something else from another class or something they want to share.
yeah, and it's one of the things that I actually have to surprisingly work to train my kids to do, is it's much easier for sharing for them to just type it in here and then share, But a lot of them like
So
to,
now,
for some reason, type it
Need to
in
put-
Word and then either copy and paste
Put
or
it
import it.
for
And I don't know
files
why
on
that
it.
is. For some of them, maybe it's that they're working when they don't have an internet connection. But you can work in this and save it in your file without it being on the internet, and then. So I don't know, but I typically have to just try and train them to type it in this because it's much easier. Because you can copy and paste. So if I for a second go into my syllabus plans, which I get to show off that I'm doing syllabus plans.
you know what?
I,
Invitation.
I,
You know what? It's permission.
So if I go into my
Yes,
syllabus plans
permission.
and for some reason
From
I
parent
needed
or
to copy
guardian
and paste this particular assignment,
is due.
I would copy it as normal,
Wednesday,
and then I would go back into Google Drive, and I can paste it, and it should come in
Yeah.
just like that.
Right.
Now, the
Some
other
kids
thing
would show up
you
in the
can
living
do
room. She didn't know why.
Is you can import a whole separate document that's
How about
already
completed
done.
forms must be submitted?
Now, I really discourage students from doing that because if they import something, what winds up happening is that I then, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I then have much more difficulty editing it or commenting on it because it basically imports it as a solid PDF
No
that I
way.
can't then play with it.
Might as well make it the same for the second set.
So, let's say I created this document and it has all this stuff in it for no real reason. So now I want to share this with both of
Yeah,
you.
really.
In the top right corner over here, there's this share button. At the moment, this is private only to me. Only I have access to it. If I click share, it wants me to name it, so I'll name it test document. Now, it says private, only I can access. I can change that
And all these
by
are required,
clicking
you
change.
can't move on the phone.
If I click on this change button right here. I can change that so that anybody on the web can find it at all. That's not very private. I can change it so that anybody who gets the link from me can open it. That's typically the best one to do. Or I can change it such that only the very specific people that I share it with together. I tend to switch to anybody with link because a lot of times kids are logging from somebody else's computer or they're checking their email on a device that isn't theirs somehow. And so they want to be able to log in just with having the link to the document.
The next piece was that the signature stated that all
Yeah, we
their
should do that.
obligations.
What I'll then do
Yes,
is I will pick
that's a good. Yeah, we added that.
specific people that I do want to share it with. And that happens in this invite people window down here. So I can go to Julie Anderson, and I can go to
Because
Michael.
there's a signature.
I'm trying to think
Oh.
of. That's all I need, really.
I got that right, Mike?
I think so. I can barely make out the
I'm
type.
so tiny.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Make screen bigger.
And then I can either just send it to you with this green button, or I can add, as if this were an email, I can add a message. I can say like, hi there, here is the test document. And then I can either send a copy to myself, I can choose to paste the document. You're going to receive an email that says I've shared this with you. And then I just click send. And you all should wind up getting it fairly shortly.
the right word? All your weekend obligations come from
They come through?
She had a better word.
Yeah. I'm sure it will.
Yes, I did.
All right, so Mike, if you want to click on the link that it sent you,
Where'd you go?
On
Will?
the link,
so that in the email, there should be a link to the document.
this test document.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I got it.
so you can see it.
Yes, I can.
Right. Now, what should happen is that I should be able to see that you're in here, and I can't yet.
Okay.
Let me close out of it and then come back into it. That's not it.
Please provide your electronic signature to indicate that you have met with me.
Great. Are you able, Mike, are you able at all to edit it?
Okay, I'm just looking at it through my email on the iPad, and I don't see anything that indicates that I can. It says test document at the top, and it's got your green print there, but nothing that says I can edit it. And then,
Okay. All right, so,
Me too.
okay, so what we'll do is we will come back to that in a second. Cheryl, are you there?
I am here.
Okay. Can you go into the test document that you shared with me?
Yes, sir.
So Cheryl created this document right before you guys called in. She shared it with me.
Hold on one second. I just got to log back in.
Yep. Ah, good. Okay. So
Okay.
hopefully everybody can see this little pink flag that popped up with Cheryl's name.
I do.
And also that up here in the top right, it says that Cheryl Costello is in the document. So, Cheryl, if you want to just type something. So I can, if I'm in this document while she's in it, I can track her, including where she's at, in real time, which is very helpful if you want to conference with a student on something. What makes that even more helpful is that up here next to their name is this little chat button. I can open that up, and I can say hi to Cheryl.
Mark, does it ever happen that a student's working and you just kind of randomly are in there and you sort of say hello to them and they say, oh,
Yes.
I'm working?
Yes, that does happen. What happens more frequently is as I start commenting on their work, it starts telling them that I'm commenting on it, and so they log in and watch me comment on it.
Oh, I thought you said then they log on.
No, then they join in.
Yeah, that's great.
So here's an example. I'm going to close out of this one and open a longer document.
Can I close it now, Mark?
So here's an example of how that might work. So
All right, I'm muted
Cameron
again.
shared
All right.
this reflection piece with me toward the end of the year on IB theory. So
Now,
let's say that this was an assignment that was due today.
we would need
get
to
shared
a
with
box
me. And the other thing that's neat
that
about
says
these
approval
is
received, and then for all.
in your shared with me window, it gives you a timestamp of the date when they worked on it. And if it's today, it tells you the time that they just worked on it. Now I've got, for some reason, I've got the clock wrong on my
We're
computer,
gonna give
so
them,
it says 10:55. But Cheryl was on this much more recently than that.
Right, okay.
You can
But
have
it'll
where
give
it
you a
says,
timestamp. So if you say it's
approval
gotta be in
received.
by 11, and it comes in at
and then it'll say
11:30,
for office
you can
use
see that
only.
it's late,
Right, okay.
which is
And
nice.
then it should
So
appear on the
let's say
form,
that
so
this
that when they go
is
to look at the form, they'll see that.
an assignment that Severn handed in
That's
today.
the piece I have to see.
And let's say
Oh, I was
that
gonna suggest,
I
let's,
wanted
look
to
at the
give him some
form,
feedback on
'cause
it
here's the
for a
thing.
revision.
do we want
What I could do
to be creating
is
one
I
of these every
could,
week?
let's say I read this first paragraph here, widen my horizon because most of them are out of my comfort zone, theater is about
That's the other issue, right?
inspiration, reads
So I'm wondering,
blah, blah, blah. But he gets to this in conclusion, this
Why
course
not
makes me
keep
better
it an
understand the
ongoing
value of art
sheet?
literature. Oh, very nice sentence. I
Right,
can
that's
highlight
what it would
that,
have to
Big.
be.
and I can
Right.
do one of two things.
I mean, she
And
can copy and
sometimes I
paste
do
into
one
a
and
separate
sometimes I
page
do other. The
every
main
week.
thing that I tend to
So
do
if she wants
now
to see who
is
left
if I
work for the
highlight
week.
that, I go up to this button
Right,
where it
so I was
says
thinking-
comments. And I can click,
it would be easier to,
and I can comment
we create
on
one.
this sentence,
and
and I
create
can
that
say,
column at the end
Severn,
that,
this is a great
says permission.
show.
Approval received
I
or whatever.
wonder if
Parental
you
approval received.
think
Yeah, I was talking to her
about
about it.
other connections to
The kids know
TOJ,
that they have to
for
have their
example,
parents.
right?
on
So I
campus.
can make that comment,
That's already
and
an
then if I
ongoing
click-
rule.
Right,
The
comment,
problem is when they don't follow the rules.
when he logs back into this document,
Starts to go
he'll be able to
weird.
see that I made a comment there, because it'll leave it highlighted in yellow like that.
So,
And so he can then click on it and read the whole thing. He can click on it and reply to it. Like that. I have the ability to delete it,
what's that gonna look
but
like?
he and I have the ability to mark the comment as resolved, as in there's nothing left to do about it, and then it goes back into this comments free thing. But it doesn't show as an active comment here. And I can reopen it. So now it's unresolved again. So what I tend to do is I tend to, on early drafts of things, I tend to read through a paragraph, and then often I'll just click on the last word of the paragraph, and I will click on comments up here in the top right. And I'll click on comment, and I'll just say, this paragraph felt a little bit cluttered, maybe, something like that. And then again, comment. Each time I do that,
wow.
it's going to ping him an email
Like,
that says, Mr. Aronson
Oh,
has
'cause it knows
commented
you're-
on your reflection piece. Here's what he wrote. So he'll be able to see in his email my comments in addition to walk back into the document facility.
You'll see your full comment, Mark, in the email?
Yes. So it's a
Maybe
great
I'll
way
come
to,
back to
Pretty
the
fancy with
document
the arrows
because
there.
he needs, to review what he has there.
Right.
Okay.
correct, yeah, depending on the nature of the comment. So it's a really handy way to give sort of detailed feedback. Now, the thing that I have yet to play with, and so I'm probably not going to test it right now in front of all of you, but the thing that I have yet to play with is you can record audio feedback and attach that as a comment. And I think for longer pieces or for sort of summative comments at the end of a paper, that's a good idea. I haven't really played with that yet. So maybe we'll have to have a follow-up once I've played around with that a little bit.
Okay.
The other thing that I've been known to do in the past, although I do it less now because it's a little more time-consuming, is let's say I'm going through a paper and I'm really trying to look at language issues, spelling and grammar and technical stuff. What I'll often do is I'll create a key where I'll say, for example,
Oh, yeah, we have a lot of fields.
I'll create in highlights, I'll say any text in orange has a punctuation
They
error.
submitted it.
Ah.
And then what I'll do is,
Put a field in for
let's say he just used these parentheses here, which he took back kind of good. I can select them, I can highlight them in orange,
When they're going.
and then he'll be able to, as he's reading, look back up at
Well, we
the
did ask him to take their going, didn't we?
I know,
and
but that's,
see what kind of error he needs to fix there.
well, yeah, I mean, she can
She can
So
sort
I
the
can do
columns, right?
punctuation errors in orange,
do all that.
I can do spelling errors in green, so let's say.
Well, here's the other
beginning
challenge.
on, which he didn't,
Yeah,
I
you
can
know
say
what?
he
She's
did
gonna
it,
have to do one
I can
every
highlight that in green.
Because they're
And so on, so on.
principles.
So then I just leave the key
They
up
got
at the
these
top,
from dorm parents.
Right.
up
Oh,
here,
yeah, it was good, so-
and then as the student goes through,
You know what I mean?
they can look at
Yeah.
each error by type of error.
All she'd have to do,
What's really helpful to me
Right,
with
sure, I do this
the
every Monday morning.
English
It's a quick
language
thing,
learner
right?
kid
all you do is this,
is I
Create a new
really
one.
get to see
Just
which
go over
specific
here, this is
issues
my form.
each kid was struggling with the most.
go to file,
Because
make a
one
copy.
student might have a paper filled with orange, or another might have a paper filled with green. Or everybody might have a paper filled with orange, and I know we've got to go over comma spellings. So that's the main, those are the two main ways that I've been doing
She wants to share it with
it's
people.
either highlighting
She will,
the
she'll share it
technical
with you.
stuff,
Yeah, so
or just
the
adding
first time,
comments
yeah,
to the
first time
comments.
she does, she's typing all their names, after
So then,
that.
Mark,
she
they're
does it with
flowing
the
in,
Now,
and
how do we
they're
get that column
reading
in?
your
Is this something
comments,
she's
they're
gonna
making
have to add
adjustments
information?
that they feel are appropriate or necessary according to your comments.
Yep.
And then
So there's the
Are
form,
you
so there's a brand new
doing
one.
your final grading
September
on,
The form
using
itself remains exactly the
in
same, the only thing that's changing is the title.
process?
So she doesn't
They're
have to
never,
touch the
they're
form
never
anymore.
turning in a hard copy, correct?
Correct, there's never a hard copy. So, go ahead.
So
Add column
you're
here,
doing your
or you
final
could add
grading
it to the
comments
form.
on this, and then
Probably
they
just adding it to
are,
the form.
I'm
This
guessing
is
like
The
they're
kids
taking
click
in
it.
a folder.
No,
So-
no,
So
she
once-
needs to add it.
Once they've
Everybody
created it
needs
and
to see
shared
it.
it with me, it is permanently saved unless they delete it.
Everybody
And it'll be
meaning,
permanently saved in their version of the My Drive here. So like
And
that
you
document,
delete it and say that you never graded it or anything like that, right?
it's not possible for that to
Here's the
happen
column.
if I have done
What I need to see
Okay,
another
is
handy
if we
feature.
give permission for,
okay. That's-
the user to look at the form,
Now,
if we add a column to it, do they get to see the column that
The
wasn't on the original
disadvantage to this, as opposed to
form? Or is
handing
that just
everything
the
back
person
in a
who's
pile,
modifying
and can the
the form?
is
person
that the
who,
kids you get
And I
to
wanna know if they can
first
modify this
between
form, or if
drafts
they just view it.
wind up getting more time to do
can they only see
it.
what they submitted, not
No.
everybody else?
It's everybody.
So for example,
See,
if
that's
it
the
takes me
problem. It's
5
not that
days
No,
to
but
get
here's
through
what we thought
20
about.
papers,
Okay.
Here's what we thought about.
and I do
She can send
4
an
of them
official
on the
note.
first day, those 4
Well, that's a
kids
good
are
idea
gonna
for
get
an
their
inbox,
feedback.
yeah, an official
An
note, probably
official
better,
note,
because that way if the
it's easier.
parents didn't really give permission,
Right,
So do you
exactly. The parent gets that.
stagger
they get
duties?
copied on it.
Right.
There, you can call and say, I never gave permission.
I
Right.
tend to
So
Yeah,
not
that's a
do
good
that.
idea.
I tend-
Her and I was thinking out loud, if we use the official notes, because it's
They're
pretty
asking
easy
for
to
extensions if I knew they were
use
later.
official notes, right? Depending on the names, she can sit and look at the spreadsheet and just
I
start
mean,
typing the last name.
one
just like
of
whatever
the things
stuff.
that I was
I
doing
have
last year was
A
I was
group put
deliberately
together
targeting the
that
ones
gives
that I think
somebody
would be
permission
more
for every
problematic
student.
earlier, because there's the ones that I
Right, so
think
she
So
would
she'd
be,
be on,
longest to
because that
revise.
Corey and Terry, so I'd have to figure out how to get her permission on it, but she would have then the ability to send an official note to any student in the
Do you
school.
target the entire
right,
English
and on that
department?
official note,
Do
we
you
have to
do
create an
Google
official note
Docs, or
type.
is it still, individual by
We'll find out
teacher?
to create a new
I
official.
think
Weekend
most, I
promotion.
think most of us use
Or
it
something,
now.
whatever.
Well, so the other thing we were thinking about,
I know
'cause here's
Joe's
the-
using
here's
it,
what
I'm
I'm-
using it,
this is the
pretty sure
special
he is
form
using it.
for
I
spring
don't
break,
know
Christmas and all that.
Right.
BK and
Right. And
Diane.
I said, why can't we just make one form?
Kip knows how to
That's what
use
Bill
it,
and I were just
because he
talking about.
uses it
Why
with
can't we
me
just
and
call it
Diane
off
needs
campus form?
Um,
Well, I guess the
So,
only challenge with
I
that
think
is
everybody knows how. I
it's this
don't know
specific
that, I
information.
don't know that anybody else has gone completely paperless like I have. I think everybody to some degree still has kids
Yeah.
hand some things in.
You know what I
I
mean?
mean, if that's how they're gonna do it, and this is the
Well, we don't
information they
have
need,
to.
Well, but if this is
One
what,
of the
if this
things
is,
that can also become
this is the
problematic,
school transportation,
if
so the
like me,
kids can
you have
plan.
each kid
But if they're
share
gonna take
every
school
single thing they write,
transportation,
Right.
is that your shared with me folder gets gigantic.
but if a
Right.
kid chooses school
So this is-
transportation, can we then
this
send
is
them this
all that you're
information?
seeing
You've
now
chosen school
scrolling on my
transportation,
screen
here are the times that the
It's like May,
savings are
April,
leaving.
is all April 4th and 3rd
What do
on the
they
screen.
need?
Well, she likes to
now.
collect it up front, so she knows
And
how
it just
many
keeps
games
going
she
back and
needs.
back forever, and so it becomes a nightmare to
That's
order.
why she likes that. I mean, we could, it's only 3
So
hours.
what I did was I created
They're all
all
the
these
same.
separate folders
I was gonna say,
for each of the
Oh,
classes I taught.
You know what I mean?
so all she has to do is create this form and this
I
box gets
created a
edited,
folder for.
Right,
that's all.
right. So I don't
Here's
think,
everything
The same thing I
that
just-
I wrote.
Just copy it
I
and,
mean, actually, most of it's the same as what you just did.
right, so we create one form,
So,
copy it, this would be the,
Add this,
it-
all you have to
and
do,
then just change
It
it.
prevents the need to
Create
have
master
to keep a
form.
physical portfolio.
then
Mhm.
copy it and make spring break
And
plans.
he could,
And
for
have that form,
example,
but the master
go
form
back
has
into
everything but this
earlier
filled in.
thing that he had
And then
that
she,
you
whatever
did for
the
me.
holiday
And
they're
you can
taking, she can
see
just change the title.
my
That's not what it's
comments
done.
and my edits on it.
Took me
even
10
now.
minutes,
So
tops,
here's- this
maybe
was,
5.
the son also
When he's
allowed
done
me
and I'm
to
not
put the
distracted.
sexism.
I had the other one almost done when you came in.
So here's
Yeah.
all the comments that I wrote.
Alright, so the other thing, yeah, so
I made
just
some
thinking out
edits
loud.
up here just in terms of
if there's
whether they
parents
cut
that have
out.
not
We
contacted
can
the
go back into
office,
that
she used to get in the
anytime.
habit of calling the parents. I'm like, you shouldn't be doing that.
Kid just
So-
can't, we can't.
Is there a
Right,
limit
he can't.
to,
Kid will call the
you
parents.
know, how
Well,
much
and what
you can
happens is when
say,
it's 5 o'clock, you tell the kid you're not leaving
you
campus.
know, in
Well,
all
my dad
different
calls
where you
within
get
30
full?
seconds.
And Dave says that's okay.
I
And that's
think,
okay.
Right.
You know, and that's
and
okay,
Cheryl
because
might
they'll
agree
get
with
the,
me, but I
They
think
get what they need.
that it's
she'll get
5
the
years.
permission. So how do we let the kids know,
I mean,
this is
I've
where I
got
thought official notes would be nice.
Thousands of documents,
She
and
could
you're
send an
never gonna
official
come
note
close to
saying
that
you
with
provided
documents.
permission.
Right.
And so
If you
for
do not
this
receive,
coming
you know,
year,
and the
will
link
you
is on, if you
keep,
don't receive that official
I mean,
note
will you
by
keep all of these folders?
5 o'clock.
keep
They have
everything-
classes on,
I
yeah,
keep everything
By the end
for
of
one
class on
full
Friday.
year after.
You don't have permission.
right.
So at the end of this,
See, this is a
at the
liability.
end of the year
That's
we
all.
just had, I got rid of
Because we're
my,
responsible for the kid, right? If we don't get
2012,
parent permission for the kid
2013
on
folder.
campus, the kid takes off.
Yeah.
And
The
then
rest
the
we should be calling the
students,
police.
I was just gonna say, that's,
share with
the
each
kids
Because
on
other
the
then
way.
as
they're
well.
going AWOL.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
So
they're
you
missing.
can have the
As
entire
work is
class
Right.
collaborating on a single document if you want. or you
We'll
can
probably have to
create
do
groups.
that.
Or if, like, if you,
Well,
if Zach
you know,
tells
First
the
day of
boys,
summer school, they lost a
You're
kid.
gonna have to,
everybody could comment on his paper or something like that.
Correct, yep, you can do
you're
peer
gonna have to
editing.
set a few examples and make a few.
First day of summer school, they lost
So-
Vika.
To create a
called.
folder,
They didn't know where she went. They
you go
kept
to
her
this
here.
create button
I sent
again,
her ass
this
home.
red button.
But-
And the first option is folder,
I know.
and let's say
honest
I
to
had a
God.
folder for
2
Joe
days she
Costello. So she now has, she should now have a folder here, it created it, oh, it created it in Zach's folder.
I can't even listen to her, I'm
I'll move
sorry.
it back
I didn't
in
hear a thing she
My
said.
drive,
I
there we
can't.
go, so she
She
now
walked
has
in
a
today, I
folder,
was like, I'd rather talk to Scott.
so she shared something with me, she shared this test
I
document.
just,
with
the
me.
2 of them,
So I'm
I'm like,
gonna
I'm
move
gonna
it to
throw up.
Cheryl's folder.
Bad
That's
things
it.
are happening with
And
the
it
2 of
tells
you
me here
together.
that I did that.
Her new boyfriend.
Yes.
Um, okay, a couple other things, and then I'll show you how this works on an iPad unless there's more questions. Handy things to be able
Alright.
to
Let's
do
revisit this
for.
Okay,
even
well, I'll make
for
these, I'll
homework.
do
Yeah,
these.
make those up, let's sleep on it.
And then what I'll do is I can share it with
I do
you
it to
and
get
Barbara.
people to sign up for
Yeah,
the
let's
things
test
that I
it.
did.
And then,
Yeah,
And then we'll walk her through the process of what she'll need to do.
Right.
Essentially, she'll need
So when I do
to
the grid,
copy
so
the
it used to
copy
be
and
that just Barry would send me
which
the
I
grid.
showed Sharon, it's 2
And
seconds.
I
And then
would
where's it gonna live?
upload a file. This-
Where the
this
kid's
little
gonna go
red
to
button
get
would
this
either-
link.
Answer this for a second.
I don't know, we'll have to talk
This
about
red
that.
button
That's the
next
other
to create is
Because we
upload.
have to rely on Caitlin to put it up
You
there.
can
every
upload
week.
documents,
Well, we
you
should
can
create a link
upload
in your community,
spreadsheets
like,
from Word, from Excel,
And Barbara
from
has
Should it be on the
pages,
student's
from numbers. I think that's what the operator.
That's fine, as long
as
Barbara
Upload
has
it through this.
the
And it
ability,
would create for
to
me a
access that and
spreadsheet
change
that looked like the grid.
she shouldn't have to rely on somebody else to do that.
Should change the link every week.
Well,
Or
yeah,
you
if we're
can
gonna
just
change the
create
form every
your own
week,
spreadsheet.
the link changes. It's a new link. That's the
And
problem.
again, this works pretty much just like Excel.
She
It's
can
got
do
all
it.
of
It's
the
easy.
You just gotta show it.
options.
But honestly, I told
for
Sharon the same thing. Every Monday
sorting-
morning,
sorting
she's
by
gonna have to
columns
copy
and
the
all of that
Roxbury
stuff.
report,
Right.
send it out,
What you
get the
can
link,
do,
send the link to faculty, I
either
said, take the
in
thing
this
off the portal, they
spreadsheet
can't get that anymore.
or on your
And
own.
I said, that's, I said, then you close the
Separate
week,
from it,
the
is you can
form from the
create
week
a
before, and
form.
that's the other thing Barbara can
So
do.
if I go to create
She
and
can
then form,
close the form after a certain date and
that
time.
gives you a bunch of,
On Wednesday
formats
at whatever
for it.
date,
I
she
tend to
can
choose
no
the
longer
standard
accept
one because it
responses for
looks
that
like the
form.
CA,
And the kids aren't gonna
right
be
on the
able to put in
website.
information form.
and you can
That
create
would be
That
questions
should be
fun.
like
5 o'clock by Friday or
first
whatever.
question.
Well, what did it say?
Well,
Well,
yeah. I
it
know,
says
it's
here,
Friday.
forms are due Wednesday by
Wednesday.
11.
And I can say that I want it
That
to
would
be
be whatever,
applicable
what
for
we,
a
so
question.
Wednesday at 11, she can
Or I
go
can
in
pick
and click
any other
not
type of
accepting
use
responses,
questions
and the
I
kids
want.
will get an error message that says, this form is
And
closed,
then
you
I can
may no
have
longer
option
accepting, and
one
they can't do
be
anything with it.
Right.
That will teach
Option
them to
two
do it
be
by
do.
Wednesday at 11.
That's true.
Option 3BC.
And if it were me, that's what I would
And
do.
decide
Yeah,
whether
we're
I have
doing-
the required
I
question.
I would, I'd be waiting.
Yeah.
10:59, there it is.
Now, when I,
Yeah, I
if I
would.
send this to somebody,
Because that's the, if we are
This is
not
what
gonna go,
this is.
then just don't put a date and time on it, because it's a stupid.
Right, and unless I told her,
Tuesday,
we're not gonna have
B or
rules.
C,
And
and they
like,
can
here's
submit.
one, let's not even bother with this, because it's just gonna blow up.
So
Right, and if there's exceptions, the kids are gonna have to go see somebody in that
I
office
can
and
then
get,
add more
Right.
questions if
Yeah.
I want.
That's what-
Question
then she's gotta reopen the form.
2,
We'll see.
So, we got more done in 15
What
minutes than Tina liked
B
it.
is your
Forever.
first
Thanks.
choice this
Good.
weekend. And I can have them answered in text. I can have them answered in paragraph text for a shorter or longer answer. Make a required question. So that when I send this form, this is what they're going to see, and they'll be able to type movie trip here if they want and submit it. So this is, you can create quizzes and tests and essentially homework worksheets through this if you want. I've never used it for that because I don't tend to give a lot of assignments like that. But it's very easy to do, and you can move questions around into whatever order you want. So let's say I want question 2 to become question 1, I just move it up. And then when you're ready to send it to people, you have a bunch of options. You can either give them the option to do it again with this box. You can let them see what everybody else has answered for all the questions with this box. Or you can let them go back into what they did and edit it with this box. And then just like sharing a document, you can click on send form and add the people you want to send it to in here. So like I said, what I use that for is sending out the grid and having people sign up for their duties, because what it'll do for you as the form creator. Let me see if I can find. Yeah. What it'll do for you as the form creator is it will create for you this down at the bottom, this form responses tab. It'll give you what everybody wrote for each of the questions on the form. So Steve Slavinsky filled out a form that his first choice was VDP, his second choice was VDP, his third choice was open gym, his e-driver preference was Sunday, and there wasn't anything he wanted me to take into consideration. It puts everybody's responses on the same page for you to look at. And it does that
Okay,
out.
that's very helpful.
Yeah.
Because you used that on our team as well, and I thought it was such a nice way to sign up. It was very simple and quick, and
Right, and it saves us as AODs from reading 17 different emails.
oh yeah, and then from there, then trying to take your notes and
Right. And yeah, so that's super easy. So those are the basics. And every single assignment I have my kids do, they submit through this. And there's no more printing and oh, the printer didn't work and oh, I emailed it to you, didn't you get it? And,
yeah, you didn't get it. Mm-hmm.
There's none of that. They either sent it or they didn't.
Mark, do you spend time at the beginning of the year showing them how to use it, or do you find that most of them already know, or?
What I have been doing, so 2 years ago when I started using it, most kids didn't know how, and so as I was learning, I was showing them as I went along. Last year I found that everybody already knew, but again, I had all juniors and seniors.
Okay.
Freshmen, sophomores, you probably got to take the time to show them some of this.
Right.
Although I would say, if you create something and share it with them, once they open it, they'll be able to figure quite a bit of it out on their own. But yeah, it's worth taking the 10 minutes to show them how to share something with you.
Sure.
Absolutely. So that's most of what I use it for on in laptop mode. Now, what I found when Cheryl gave me my mini at the end of the year was that I very much enjoyed actually reading and editing and commenting on student work much more on the iPad than I did on the computer, because I found I could do it wherever I wanted, and I just found the interface of sort of clicking and typing much easier. I know that's weird because the keyboard's smaller, but let me pull up a view of my iPad here. Let me see if I can figure out how to do that. There we go. So can you guys see my iPad now?
Yes.
Okay. I can change the orientation. So there's 3 apps that I've got. One is the Google Drive app itself, which is this one here. And then there is also, with that, the Sheets app and the Docs app. All 3 are accessible from each other. So the main one that I just typically go into is I go into the Drive app, and they're all free. And once you download them, it'll ask you to log in with your Google Drive account. So mine's pre-logged into mine. So it's going to call up the same folders. I see it already updated to have Cheryl's folder in there. So from here, I can, if I tap my 2013-2014 folder, I can go into my folders. I can go into IB Theater 1. I can go into something Giselle wrote. I can look at her final draft, and this is going to open the Docs app. And so here's Giselle's final draft of her research paper, which I can then scroll through, and I can read. Probably coming in a little fuzzy for you guys. So I can scroll through this whole thing and read it, and I can either read it in just view mode up here, which looks like this. Now I can't do anything to it, but it reads, at least on my iPad, if not on the screen you're seeing, it reads a little more clear. Or I can tap on this pencil and I can read it in edit mode, and I can do all of the things that I was doing before. I can search the document for a particular word. So let's say she wrote about Sweeney Todd. Let's say I was looking for Sweeney Todd. It would take me to that first example of it there. And it works just like the search and find or replace feature in Word. I can also, again, with this button here, make comments. So let's say I got to the end of this paragraph. All I have to do is double tap my finger on a word, and it gives me the option to either cut it, copy it, paste it, or put a comment. if I just tap on comment, my keyboard comes up and I can say, nice first paragraph. And then I click this little checkbox and it'll make that comment. And then when she logs in, she will see it highlighted in yellow and she can tap on it to see what the comment is. So it works in almost exactly the same way. And now now what this does, when you close out of it, because that was a document, it put me into my Docs app, but I can switch very easily back to Drive app to access a different file if I want. And in this, if I tap this plus button, I can create a whole new document or a new spreadsheet or a new folder, or I can upload stuff that I have on my iPad, or I can even use the camera and it'll upload that picture that I took. And it'll put it right in Google Drive for me. So I can create a new document in this. I'll come up with a title for it, Test 2. Here's my new document. And again, just like on the computer, I can go to this person button. It says there's nobody there. Oh, sorry, that's not how you share. Okay, so if you want to share this, when you're done working on it, I'm done working on it now. You click the little checkbox, that saves everything and has you close out of it. Then that document now is the first one here because it's the last one I worked on. I go to this little information button and tap that. And this sidebar comes up where I can read it, print it, flag it, name it, or here I can share it. And also, again, down here, I can change who has access to it. The same way I was doing before. I can change whether I want other people to link or whether I want anybody on the internet, etc. So I tap this little share button and I put in Julie and I put in Christina and I say whether I want you to be able to edit it. Oh, and this is important, I didn't go over this last time. I say whether I want you to be able to edit it, comment on it, or just be able to view it. Now, if I'm sharing something with a student, I probably want them to maybe just be able to comment, or maybe even just view it. If they're sharing with something with me, they have to share it so that I can edit it.
Okay.
Because if I can't edit it, then there's not much I can help them with. Right? So if I send this to you, I'll put the check mark. Somebody got it, I hope you did.
Yep.
So then both of you can get into it and you can play around with it however you want.
Cool.
And it works the same for that as it does with the spreadsheets. So we made spreadsheets for the gifts for the wedding. Here's the grid from January again. I can change the orientation and I can shrink it. You can just, like anything else on the iPad, you can squeeze to shrink or expand it. And it has that response page that told me what everybody's preferences were. Down at the bottom. So I surprised myself because I thought, oh, with the smaller keyboard, I'm not gonna like reading student work on the iPad. But I prefer to read it on the computer. I find it less taxing, and it's just more convenient. I can do it wherever, whenever. So that's about it, unless there's other features people want to see or a question.
Hey, Mark, I have a question. When it comes time to making any edits, you need to download that other part you said, the sheet, you know, the app for the, I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
I would download Drive, Docs, and Sheets.
Okay, Docs and Sheets. Okay, because I had the Drive, I just didn't have the other two downloaded.
Right. So if you've got Google Drive, you can view any of the things, but you can't
Right.
edit them.
Can't edit. Can't do
Yeah,
anything.
and that's new. That's new as of like 6 months ago. Because 6 months ago you could do the editing in Drive, but it was much more limited editing. And then they made the Docs app and they made the Sheets app so that you can edit more thoroughly.
Oh, I see.
I imagine that'd be much more helpful for you.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Okay, great. All right, I think that's, I mean, that's, for me, very interesting. I mean, I would think this would be great. I mean, you're eliminating paper for all these kids, and for them saying, oh, you know, I forgot my paper, it's easy enough for them to give it to you.
Right, well, and if they're all going to have iPads, and I make them all get all 3 of those apps, which are free,
Right.
so there's no wiggle room at all on it.
Yeah, that's really good.
Either they did it or they didn't.
Right. Right, that's really good. Really, really good. And Julie just had to take a quick call, so she's just right outside here.
Okay. Mike, was there anything you wanted to see again, or?
Not really. I'm just trying to figure out how this ties in with what I do. I mean, it's pretty clear the advantages to you with all the writing and reading and grading that you do.
So what's a typical homework assignment for you?
Well, one of the things that say AP Psychology, it's because it's a multiple choice free response kind of an exam, lots of practice with both of those things. So one of the things that makes sense to try to do maybe in the long run is to take these paper multiple choice practice things that I have that get quite lengthy and import that into a way where they just send something back and they say A, B, C, and when I'm grading it, I can go and use your color coding or whatever to try to grade it that way. So things like that, I see the connections on getting away from the paper more so than ease of doing it, because it's not that hard to grade the things when they're in front of you. It's all the effort goes into typing up all the multiple choice questions.
Sure. Yeah.
The IB economics kind of homeworks are going to be more like they have to give a written response and maybe incorporate a diagram in there. The written response part's pretty easy, how that would tie in, how they would do an X and a Y axis and different curves. There'd be some learning there.
Yeah, some, although it's very easy to copy and paste an image. So if they're in another bit of software creating those diagrams,
right,
they can copy and paste them. And
right.
Or you can import an entire thing if you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's super easy. They're going to come out with some enhancements to this fall because they're making Google Classroom, which is going to use a lot of this, and it's going to enhance a lot of it. My guess is that that's going to create more opportunities for that type of stuff that you're talking about. Let me just quickly get my iPad off here and then show you something that CJ Bearware did. That might be of interest. So if you look here under Create, there's Drawing.
Yep.
And he had a number of those. There's also a pile more apps that you can use. And one of them so here's, for example.
Hey, sweetheart, I just got a text from Aggie. She said she needs a signature from you.
Yep.
And she wanted to if you wanted dinner. She's
quite a
going
bit
to
like
Boston
your
Market.
typical Illustrator software.
She said she needs a
You
signature.
pick what shapes you want to do, and you sort of click and drag them to be where you want and what size you want. But the other thing that he found in that group of other
But you want
apps,
Boston Market.
was he
That's my
found this floor
Huh?
plan thing. Let's see if
Mark,
I
are you
can
there?
pull this up.
Okay.
All right.
I'm trying to find the one that he did, let's see.
Hello. Okay. So, okay, then I'll tell her, let her know I'm not home. All right, so she'll probably come over, I'll tell her 6:30 to give you time to get home and get settled. All right, sweetheart, I'll see you later, I love you. No. Now Kathleen might stop home, but I don't think they're gonna,
I can't find the specific thing I was looking for, but
right.
basically,
love
you
you.
can make things be in, you can make things be in 3D.
Oh,
Right, so if I'm creating a floor plan for a room, I can put this armchair in it, but then I can look at it. In theory, I can look at it in 3D. I don't know, I haven't really played with this. But the idea is that you can really take anything that exists in any sort of digital format, and you can put it in one of these documents or spreadsheets. So if you've got kids who need to model certain economic trends, they can plot their graphs and then copy them in. Right. I guess was my basic point.
yep.
Anything else?
Do you use this when you're in the test, or do you still do paper tests? Or the same?
I don't give tests.
Okay, so much for that thought. Okay.
No, I mean, if I were to use this, for example, I do give a lot of in-class writing assignments.
Right.
And so what I would typically say is, I might even, one or two times I created a form and I gave them the prompt through the form like this. So I choose this, and I say, essay topic, words.
Hey, Mark,
Yep.
and I have a parent waiting for me, so I'm gonna, log off, but this was pretty helpful.
Yes, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
And, nice to hear your voice there too, and Cheryl, and, if you guys need anything, holler, but thank you,
Alright.
Mark, so much.
My pleasure.
Okay,
See you.
bye-bye.
Bye.
So I can say, what's the effect of, I don't know. I could, let's just say, what happens when return on capital exceeds growth? Because I've been reading Thomas Piketty.
Okay.
And I can then say paragraph text,
Right.
and I can make this a required question. And then when they see it, they can type their responses here.
Yep.
And submit it, and then it'll create one of those spreadsheets for me to look at that has everybody's responses.
Okay.
But I could do it like that.
Yep.
More likely what I would do is I would just write the prompt on the board, and I would have them each just create a Google Doc and answer it and share it with me.
Okay.
But I don't know why that's more likely what I would do, because that seems less efficient to me. Maybe it's just because I haven't really done it so much. Now that I think of it, I'd probably just create the form.
Yep.
But the forms are very, very helpful. What else?
That's pretty much it.
Okay. Hopefully this was useful.
All right, I think it just puts things in my head and makes me think about how it would be useful, so that's why I'm doing all this stuff, yeah.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much, Mark.
Mark, that was great.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Oh, see you, Mike. See you, Mike.
Good.
Time's
Good.